Hey YouTube, we're at the Brooks mine with the underground miners. In a few minutes we're going to be actually looking at the Brooks mine tunnel. What do you say, Bill? That's going to be our tour guide right there, Bill. Cameraman Gary. Who do we got here on the popcorn machine?
Jerry.
What's up, Jerry?
The guy behind you there, he's the
Andrew.
Oh, what's up, man?
What's going on?
Get that guy back there. What's going on in here?
What's your name, sir?
I'm Mike.
What's up, Mike? And your name?
How you doing?
Hey.
Hi. Hello.
See you in the tunnel. How you doing? You're about to be on YouTube.
Oh boy.
Today we're at the Brooks mine. There's Chris Merrily on the left. Chris, what's going on here today?
Oh, we're having a little shindig up here. Running some equipment, demonstrating some old mining lamps, and yeah, we're having a good old time.
Very cool indeed, man. We'll see you inside,
All right,
Chris.
see you inside.
To the Brooks mine, built in 1902. This is an exhibition mine, which is to say it never really produced any kind of coal, but it was put here to show others a working mine. Now normally you'd have to go half a mile underground to see all the things you're going to see within the next 5 minutes. So come on inside and take a look. Right in the beginning here, we put T-iron rails as cross members with collars holding the rock from rock to rock. We did this to keep the width the same so we could get coal cars through here without having to put punch props in. And as we go in, we have punch props on right above the top rock on the number 2 Dunmore vein. There's also a rock layer, and the number 3 Dunmore is the bottommost vein here as well. Just so happens it outcrops here on this side of the valley, and since they were perfectly level, it was an ideal place to put a tunnel. So come on in. You see the electric we did here. That wasn't the case in the years past. The lighting was upgraded. We also replaced all the tracks and ties as well. We had to bend them. Every track you'll see in here is perfectly straight. We used a Jim Crow and a track bender and bars to get the angles on them. As we come in, we're starting to prop the main roof right here, and as we come along we'll see some control points as well. These are on the original drawings, and this is how they surveyed the mine. They would also bring surveying classes in here as well. See the little SPAD right up there?
Oh, yeah.
And the number associated with that control point. Through any of the 2 control points, you're able to continue mining into a working phase or determine where you are from a mine map. You come in here to see the veins are a little more obvious, and we see the rock in between. But basically we have the Dunmore number 2 vein and the Dunmore number 3. The Dunmore number 3 being the equivalent to the red ash in our part of the coal field, or I should say the southern part of the northern coal field. So this is the bottommost vein in the Scranton area, and it continues underground through Scranton on the other side. In fact, the mine tour in McDade Park is in the Dunmore number 2 vein. So same vein, same mine tour, but continuous throughout the valley. Lackawanna Valley, I should say. As we come in here, we start seeing the 3-piece sets. And we also used 4-poling, if you look under here as well. 4-poling is how they extended the sets into the working face. And as they would run into rock that would be falling through, they'd be putting what they call laggings, or crossing the lumber. And that would and they would keep that lumber tight if they were going through any kind of sand or anything like that to prevent seepage into the main heading way. Here we get to the first crosscut. And just so happens we recently mined out a section of the chamber here.
Oh, nice.
And put in an electric, a pneumatic winch and a drag bucket, which are used to show the modern method of removing coal from a blind chamber. And there's a pulley on the other end, and a lead wire and a return wire as well.
Your run for him, Billy.
Yes, and Chris is going to run it for us. So
Yeah, we'll give you guys a demonstration.
It'll be my first time ever seeing a scraper operate.
Yeah, nice. See a few of them, right, Gary?
Yeah,
Never
never
operating.
seen one operational though.
So this is the technical term is a double drum air slusher, built by Ingersoll Rand in the 1950s. We call it in the anthracite, we call it a drag, scraper engine, something like that. And the reason is because it scrapes along the bottom rock is it pulls the bucket out. So yeah, as Billy mentioned, there's a cable attached to the front of the bucket, and then the other cable returns along the props, goes to a pulley at the face and a pin, and attaches to the back of the bucket. So that way, when you can pull the bucket towards you, when you fire your cut and you drag it out, or as we drove our cross cut to the airway, we shoveled that in front of it, and then just drug it out into the chamber here. So we can throttle this guy up. So normally now you'd have a little wooden chute here with a mine car. In our little airway crosscut here, we don't quite have enough room for that, although I think we might be able to build a little mine car building.
Tiny one,
in here.
yeah.
I think we could probably fit one. We were going to try to test that today with, this is the first time we're showing visitors the drag operate, and we had everybody kind of around the corner here, and I think there was enough room to put the car in a little thing. So that
It
might work
actually
out
moves
pretty
faster
good.
than I thought.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. So it'll pull 1,100 pounds, this model, and it moves at full throttle. It runs 150 feet per minute.
Wow.
So the one I ran at Brownie's Old Slope, the rock tunnel was, I think it might have been around 200 feet long. So it took over a minute to drag the bucket back. So you're sitting there hanging out on it, just waiting for the bucket to come. And we have the signals because here we can watch it go back and forth, but in an active mine, these things could drag for 300 feet, even farther, Billy, right? If you're going around a pillar, because they can drag around pillars depending on how you have your pulley set up, and you can't see where the bucket is. So if your miner's up there, shoveling coal or moving the bucket around to put it in the pile, you want to have some sort of signal system so that you don't whack him with the bucket or something. So he can, he rings the buzzer, which we have one here, and he goes rant to tell it to stop. And then when he's ready to pull, or when he's got the bucket's full or it's in front of the pile, you do the two raps on the switch, and the bucket or the horn goes rant rant, and it's time to drag the cut out. And then sometimes if the bucket doesn't dig into the pile, sometimes it'll kind of go over the side of it, and you don't get anything. He'll give you the return, the three bells, and that's just a return back. They'll give you the stop and the drag again, and try to get another dig onto it. So this bucket we made, this was brand new. We welded this up sometime over the winter, and brought this guy in. And this drag came from Rick Bender's slope down in the southern field, and he donated it to us. And we gave it a little restoration, and here she is.
Very nice.
So yeah, we'll take her back. And you see it's kind of triangle shaped?
Yep.
So that way, as it's returning, see we have, the vein is pitched this way. I don't know if Billy mentioned it coming in, but we're in the number 2 Dunmore vein here. Same vein that's over at Lock 1 Mine Tour.
Yep.
In the back at the end of the rock tunnel. But so it's pitched this way as it goes down under the valley, and it outcrops right about here on the surface. So this vein goes about 550, I believe, feet down under the valley under Scranton.
Wow.
Comes back up on the other side on the west mountain.
Awesome.
So
You
since
guys
it's
need to
pitched
drive a
here,
slope then.
yeah, right. It's slope that way. But since it's pitched this way, the bucket would kind of whack off the props as it was coming towards us. So we put the planks along the side so it would slide on.
Oh,
But then
okay.
as it's returning, it could bounce off props on either side. So that's why it's wedge shaped, so it doesn't take your props out on its return trip. It would kind of just skip right over them. I can bring it back when you guys are.
That's something you don't see every day.
No. So Brooks Mine, the only mine tour we got going. Lackawanna has a chain conveyor and a shaker, but we got the drag operate to show people. So we don't have it running every weekend for tours, just on special weekends when we want to get the air compressor, bring it out. So we got to rent the compressor and hook the air lines up and all that to get it going. But it's always here to have your eyeball on, but we'll run it once in a while.
So you got your little friend right there too, Chris.
Who's that?
Right here, little rat.
Oh yeah, there he is down there.
See the rat there?
Nice.
You can see that.
We're gonna go in the next chamber over, and Billy's gonna tell you about the breast hopper we got over
Looks
there.
well fed.
Sounds like a plan.
The other side of this pillar right here is the number 2 cross cut that comes into the airway here. Here's the original method of drilling holes, called a breast auger. Leaning into the face. All right, so Billy's gonna keep drilling that. Now, Billy, you make sure you turn it the right way, because what happens if you turn it backwards?
Oh, it gets stuck.
Oh no, you put the coal back in your reverse history.
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah, you don't want this.
So now Billy's got that, and that, you know, that takes a while. But now today is something we would use today.
Breathe deep.
Yeah, so
Cool. It's actually a
these
first
guys
for
go
me.
a little faster.
And how many holes would you have to drill at the face, Chris?
Oh, as we were firing this gateway cuts out, we were drilling 8 holes, 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom, and 2 breaker holes in the center. We can take a walk over here, and you can see that.
It's coming.
Hey Billy, would you go ask Scott to bring some of his lamps in? Scott's here doing a vintage illumination demonstrations today, so he's got a bunch of carbide lights and oil lights going.
That's cool.
This is just a prop light. You have it going in your place back in the 1800s, early 1900s. I was wearing this 1939 Edison electric lamp that came from the Colebrook Colliery up in Carbondale. We restored it and got it working. But here we have a coal cut. So this is 8 holes, 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom, and 2 in the center. We're wired up about 10 sticks of powder. The center holes have a stick and a half, and the top corners have a stick and a half as well, just because of the way the vein is here, to get it to pull nice. Your center holes are also drilled at a little bit of an angle, a wedge cut, so this will, when we hit the button to fire this, the way blasting caps work, they're chemically timed, so they all don't go off at the same time. If every hole went off at the same time, the coal would just kind of stay there and fracture. It wouldn't actually blow out.
Wow.
So the center will blow out first. We put our number 1s in here, and then our 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s on the bottom. So it's going to boom, 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 boom when it all goes off. So the center blows out first, and that gives the rest of the coal somewhere to go.
Wow.
So the center will go, tops will go, center, and then the bottoms go last. And the theory with that, doing your bottom last, is it kind of takes this pile of coal that's here and kind of throws it out here for us.
Wow.
Generally that works. We also have a jackleg drill set up. So this is for drilling in rock. So the way our veins are situated here, we got just under 3 feet of coal on top, about 2 feet of coal on the bottom, and 4 feet of rock in the center. So a mine like this, we'd probably just take the top coal, like we have the escapeway and that chamber over there drilled, because to take all this rock, it wouldn't be economically feasible. We'd have to do something with it. We'd have to gob it on the sides. As you fire the rock out, you can't set it outside in the coal car. You only get paid for shipping coal. They would dock your pay for putting rock in your buggy. So we are going to gob the rock on the sides, build like stone walls between the props, and that would only be if we were advancing the gangway or the drift this direction. If we're just taking the coal, obviously we leave all this here. But since we're going to be advancing the drift this direction, we're going to fire out the coal, then fire the rock, and we have a rock pattern drilled here. So this is called your burn hole in the center. There's 5 holes, and the center one you leave open. You don't put any powder in that one. You put your 1s here, your 2s here. So this blows out first, and then you have your next 4 holes here. They'll go second, and then you have your perimeter holes here and here. And this will get loaded with about 25 sticks of powder.
Wow.
And that makes a big boom when the rock cuts go off. So a Jackleg drill, this runs on compressed air. There's 2 throttles on this. You have it's like a motorcycle throttle on the back. You roll this forward. It puts air pressure into the leg. This top part is like a piston. It'll lift the drill and kind of push it in depending on how you have your angle set up.
Wow.
So it'll lift the drill, push it in. This is your throttle, your speed of the hammer, and it can blow the hole out. Other nice thing about this, you guys know about black lung disease, right?
Yep.
Okay, so coal dust bad, rock dust worse. This has a nice feature, it has a water needle inside. So where does water come from in the mines?
It's like the roof right now.
So bigger mines are going to have a water ditch along the track. So on the one side of the track, you can see that good at number 9 mine tour in Lansford. There's a water ditch that flows out and goes outside if it's a tunnel or a drift. If it's a slope or a shaft, the ditch will go back to the shaft and the slope will be pumped out to the surface. We're going to take a small pump, we're going to throw it in that ditch, the water hose comes up and goes into this drill, and as we're running it, water goes through the drill, through a hole in the steel, through a hole in the bit, into the drilling hole, and it turns the dust into mud. So it just kind of comes out as dirty water. So you don't suck down any rock dust running these guys, which is nice, but you do get soaked because that water goes in that hole and it's got to come straight back out that hole. So who's on the receiving end of the hole? Because you are. Yeah. But you get wet, but you don't suck down rock dust, so that's nice. The other thing you'll notice is we have a tamping stick in this hole. So the tamping sticks are wooden sticks used to tamp the powder. And why do you use a wooden stick, Mike?
So it'll create a spark.
So it'll create a spark. The other thing we use our tamping stick for is running a rock hole, or any drilling holes, is we use it as a guide. So we want to make sure all our holes are parallel with each other as they go in. We want them all parallel. So as we're running this drill, we're eyeballing back and forth between the drill steel and the tamping stick. So that way they're parallel. Now the drill is up in the air right now just because it's not pressurized, but this hole is actually straight with that one. And the reason that is because we're drilling these holes 6 feet deep. So the end of this hole is 6 feet in there. So if you're steering this thing and you're off just a little bit, 6 feet away, these 2 holes, they could be this far apart from each other, or they could be really close to each other.
Wow.
And either one of them is bad because one, when one goes off, it can set off the other one then. Or if they're too far away, then it won't, the cut won't pull right. There'll be a big stump of rock in there, and then you got to go in there and drill it again and bottom and make it there. And you don't get anything done. Right, Scott?
Yep.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, so that's what we can tell you about this. Why don't you kill that light, Mike?
Probably one of the first lights that we used underground would have just been simple candle power. When you get candle power, not giving a lot of light. By the 1830s, 1840s, whale oil lamps like I'm wearing on my helmet or my hat would have been the lamp they use underground. Now the nice thing about the whale oil, or the bad thing about the whale oil lamps, is that they give off a dirty flame. It doesn't give a lot of projected flame either, as you can see up here. We're not using whale oil, we're only using kerosene right now. By the 1880s, 1890s, carbide lamps became the predominant lamp used underground. Now again, the problem with the carbide lamp, even though it does give off a better light, a more projected light, it is still an open flame. We'll talk about that when we talk about gases in a little bit. By the 1930s, Thomas Edison had invented the battery power packs that Chris has on. Chris, what year is yours?
39.
1939. So again, his packs right around the same time, right around the time that those lamps were first invented. And again, what's nice about Chris's lamp is that there's no open flame. Now, the reason why we're talking about open flame is there's 2 gases that are produced in coal mines, one being what we call fire gas, which is nothing more than methane gas, natural byproduct of coal. Now, methane gas is an extremely flammable gas, less dense than air, so it rises to the high points of the mine. If I were working in a chamber right now and I exposed or I got into a pocket of methane gas, one of these open flame lamps could ignite and cause, chaos underground, which didn't happen quite often. Now the problem became so bad in England back in the 1820s and 1830s, or I'm sorry, or early 1800s, 1800, 1805, that the government of England actually asked scientists to go out and figure out a way of keeping the explosion rates down. And what they came up with was what we call a Davy's lamp. And I took my Davy's lamp out because it wasn't burning real well. But when you look at these lamps right here, you might say, well, why is it that's still an open flame? Why does that flame not cause an explosion? Well, the reason is simply because the mesh screen that you see on top of this allows gases in, allows air in, but it won't allow the flame to come back out. It actually cools the flame beyond the ignition point. So what's happening is miners will take a lamp like this underground. Now this is about it's like a mid part early 1900s style lamp where you've got now you still have the mesh, the metal mesh on top, but now the flame is enclosed in a glass. In glass, which allows the flame to burn a lot brighter in the glass. Now this again, about 1900, this eventually turns into the safety lamps that you see up here on the wall right here. That's from the 1930s. That would have been used actually up until the 1970s. They used lamps like that underground. Now, the whole idea again is what does that do to keep the explosion rate down? Well, again, air can get in, gas can get in, and what the miners would simply do is they'd watch that flame. After a while, their eyes would get accustomed to seeing the height of that flame. If that flame gets larger or brighter in color, especially if it turns blue in color, it indicates methane gas is present. So when a miner comes in first in the morning, what he's going to do is test his chamber to see if there's gases in that chamber. So the first thing he's going to do is take this lamp and put it right to the roof of the mine. Now, I'm not that tall, so what I have to do in this case, I'm going to get my miner stick here. And this has a hole on the top, so I can put that on there and actually raise that right to the roof. And now what I'm going to be looking for again is to see if that flame gets larger or brighter in color. If it does, it indicates methane gas, and I could not safely mine coal with open flame lamps. Now what this is also used to detect is what's called black damp. Now black damp is simply air that does not possess enough oxygen in it. A lot of times there's excess carbon dioxide in it. And black damp is usually found low on the floor. If you were to walk in a pocket of black damp, again, it has no odor to it. You're going to take a deep breath of air and you wouldn't get enough oxygen. If you stayed in it long enough, eventually you pass out and die. So what the miners would also do is after they test the roof, they're going to test the floor. You put the lamp down low, and what they're looking to see is that the flame gets smaller in size. Because that flame's going to go out at about 18% oxygen, it will go out. So if there's not enough oxygen in the chamber, there's not enough oxygen for the flame also. So these saved miners' lives, and again, they were used right up until the 1970s, until the more digital or the more modern methanometers were actually invented. But again, yeah, up until the 1970s, they still use these.
Nice.
Questions? Chris, did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Why does your stick have a brass bulb on the end?
Why brass?
Yeah, why
so
brass?
it makes no sparks.
Alright, thanks for the tour, and YouTube, we'll see you in the next video.
Take it easy. Thank you.
Took the meter. Remember that was the first place I took the meter. Remember I just got it? Yeah. And you got it over.